Wait, what does that mean? FBI Director prepared to unring the bell of Hillary's email probe? By Joshua Kaplan for the GatewayPundit.com. The House Judiciary Committee grilled FBI Director Christopher Wray Thursday morning in response to Representative Darrell Issa's question if whether or not political bias impacted the outcome of Hillary Clinton's email probe. Wray replied the FBI is prepared to unring that bell if the Inspector General's report suggests it to. So Wray, I think the inspector, I'm not going to repeat it because he's going to say it here. FBI Director Christopher Wray drops the bomb on Hillary Clinton.
At this time, you know of no privilege.
I'm not aware of it, but I really haven't asked the question yet, to be honest.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then, lastly, since in the case of Peter Strzok and other statements, because this information was not made available to us at a time in which your predecessor, Mr. Comey, specifically said he was breaking precedent and being open and transparent as to the investigation of Hillary Clinton's taking from government possession documents under the Federal Records Act and classified documents. Do you agree that a de novo review at some point by someone is clearly warranted as to whether or not the decision not to prosecute was appropriate?
Well, Congressman, I think what I would say to that is there is what I would consider a de novo outside independent review by the Inspector General into whether or not decisions made, including charging or not charging decisions in the matter that you're referring to, were based on any kind of improper considerations or political considerations. And depending on what the Inspector General finds, there could be any range of possible steps that we or others would have to take in response to those findings.
So it's not a de novo review by the Inspector General, but a review of whether or not impropriety occurred, and as such a de novo review of that decision not to prosecute Hillary Clinton would be the question.
The time of the gentleman has expired. I think the Director may answer the question.
Yeah, I think I can briefly respond, which is, I think of the Inspector General's investigation as de novo in one sense, which is that it's objective, arm's length, no skin in the game, if you will. But you're right that the Inspector General is not second-guessing prosecutorial decisions and things like that. However, the Inspector General is looking at the very important question of whether or not improper political considerations factored into the decision-making. If he were to conclude that that's what happened, then I think at that point we're in a situation where we have to assess what else might need to be done to unring that bell, if you will.
Thank you. I yield back.
The Chair recommends.
You think there's not enough evidence? What did Wray mean? Congressman Andy Gibbs asked the FBI Director to expand on his answer. Wray explained that depending on the Inspector General's findings, the FBI would be prepared to reopen an investigation in the Clinton email probe in this case, as long as a statute of limitations issue does not arise. Notice that's why they're dragging their feet for the statute of limitations to run out. So watch FBI Director Christopher Wray discuss what happens if the Inspector General concludes that improper political considerations factored into the decisions made in the Hillary Clinton investigation, and what he meant by unring the bell. Hashtag Christopher Wray, hashtag unring the bell.
If there's undue political considerations, if the IG finds that there's undue political considerations at play in the original Clinton investigations, then the FBI would have to determine, and then you said how to unring the bell. And I guess my question is multiple there. I mean, what did you mean when you said unring the bell? And let's just start there.
It's hard for me to speculate about what I would do at that point. I think it would depend a lot on the particulars of what the Inspector General found. I would not rule out anything appropriate that would be in response to the Inspector General's findings. Sometimes there may be recommendations that come with the Inspector General's report, in my experience. So that's something we would take into account. It could range from anything from changes to our policies, our structures. It could be personnel decisions that come out of it. There could be follow-up that we need to engage in as a result of things that we learned from the Inspector General's report. So it's hard for me to give kind of an exhaustive list, but those are a few of the kinds of things that I can imagine.
Well, the first two things that you mentioned there were really kind of internal, processes, personnel. Maybe somebody needs to be corrected, maybe they need to be disciplined. Beyond that, though, I'm wondering if there's additional options that might include even reopening the investigation, taking a harder look, and is that a potential option?
Well, I think what I would say to you there, Congressman, is something that I believe is true really in any situation, which is if we find, for example, new information or new evidence that would cause us to want to reopen an investigation, assuming we don't have a statute of limitations problem or something, that's something we would consider. And likewise, if the information we received from the Inspector General suggested that that's something that would be appropriate, then that's something we would consider.
They're dragging their feet. If new information, in other words, everything else she did was swept under the rug. And now if we find new information, and if it doesn't go past the statute of limitation, I mean, this is sickening. This is absolutely sickening with Christopher Wray. He's another swamp creature. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.